Boom. We are now officially live on Facebook and we're going to record the podcast. Carlos, why don't you hype it up and introduce us so we can get going on this awesome conversation?
Two of my favorite gentlemen I've had the pleasure and privilege to work with the last close to 5 years and like 8 years. Dan Schwartz and John Whitfield. Awesome getting to work with them, seeing their personalities and inspirations every day is honestly a true honor. But I want to talk about IF3 because after we launched it or talked to our existing members about it, we've got a lot of good feedback, and we're just really excited about it, guys, because we're seeing good results and just helping real estate entrepreneurs manage their business in a better way, in a more organized way. So we wanted to hop on because we haven't really talked a ton about IF3 publicly in this type of setting. So we're hanging out. We figured, why don't we just record a podcast episode, throw a live in here, engage with a lot of our awesome friends and members in the community, which is also another benefit and best part of the job as well, the relationship. So we're just jamming here on a middle of the week Tuesday, talking to you guys.
Thanks for having us, Los. This is an honor. Carlos is employee number 3 at InvestorFuse, if you guys didn't know. John and I co-founded InvestorFuse originally on Podio back in 2016. We were both doing kind of Podio consulting automation work back then. And then we realized that, we really need to simplify this for everybody. And we still believe that to this day. And I remember in 2016, we had so much work coming in that we couldn't handle it. And so we had to bring Carlos on as a third partner just to help us take care of all of the InvestorFuse members at that point. And it's just been a crazy journey since then. John, welcome to the call, man. Good to have you on here. You're John's sort of like he's the secret wizard in the background.
Just funny because I'm going to be a Dumbledore wizard for Halloween. So maybe one day I'll show up on a customer call wearing my Dumbledore outfit and be the wizard.
Please send us videos or photos of that so we can put it on the website.
Sure. Maybe not on the website though. Just our Facebook friends. Yeah, it's good to be here and chat about IF3.
Yeah, so IF3 it's our product, but it's really John's baby because he has made an infinite number of decisions on behalf of the customers about how to improve the experience for managing leads at scale and becoming a better salesperson in your business. And it's been a long journey of software development, lessons learned to get to this point. But I'd like, John, for you to just kind of talk about why did we decide to rebuild our software and why does that matter to investors?
Yeah, I mean, so the name IF3 should be a pretty big hint to what we're doing. So it's got 3 in it because this is technically our third version of a piece of software. So the one that Dan and I built on Podio, over 4 years now. Well, I was version 1. So yeah, it was on Podio, but there's still a lot of back-end automation functions that we had to do.
Yeah.
And then, we started to think about it would be great if we, built a web page that interacted with Podio and, made things look better, because that was the number one problem with Podio is that all of the data is stuck in how Podio presents it. And you can only move fields up and down. You can do some things in calculation fields. You have to have things separated into multiple apps. And it was just very confusing for users to get used to the system and to onboard new employees. And so we thought, okay, what if we made the interface, but still used, Podio as the back end, the database tool. And we started going down that route. And I just I can't, it was one night, I just had this epiphany. It's why are we doing this? It seems like we're going to spend a lot of time and money to Band-Aid something, Band-Aid Podio. So why don't we just do our own thing? So we went down that path and we built 2.0. which we have a lot of customers on right now, and it's a stable product for them. And we worked with an agency for that, and which was helpful for us because we'd never built a piece of software by ourselves before, especially when we had to do both the front end, which is what people look at, and the back end, which is the database. And it was great to have that kind of support and guidance from them. But we got to a point where we're like, okay, so we worked with an agency long enough. Let's, hire our own developers, bring this all in-house and keep scaling the platform. So we started doing that. And what we ultimately found out is what we had built was not the best tech stack, which is just, I'm throwing fancy development terms out there. Tech stack just means like, what's it built with? What's the coding language used? What platforms are you working with? And we could either spend just the same amount of time reworking it or build from scratch again on a better tech stack. So that's what we did. So we quietly started doing this almost a year ago.
April last year.
Mm-hmm. And it sucks rebuilding software because you're always like, it's just like this, you get to a point like, and it's happened, 2 times now. So you get to like a point with 1.0, this works great. People enjoy this. And you look to the future and you're like, it's not going to last. And so you have to like start all over again. And it's just like, you're waiting to get to that point. You're waiting to get to the point where you're like, it's good again. And, it's stable and there's not that many bugs and people can use it and they're happy with it. And so we've gone through that cycle, I guess three times now. I mean, that's why we're having this discussion is because IF3 is finally there. It's been a year building it, a year of, not a year building it. How long have we been beta? Like since March?
Yeah. First customers are in March.
So about 7 months of beta. We've added more developers onto the project. We've released, I think in the last 60 days, 30 new features. So our pace of development now, we've gotten like past all the main architecture functions, the main feature functions, and now it's just like adding new things and perfecting what we currently have. So it's like it's a great fun place where we're at right now. And
the problem with 2.0 was that if someone wanted a new feature, because of the way that the software is built and how expensive it was for us to build stuff with an agency, it literally would take like 2 to 4 weeks just to add a new field somewhere and publish it. And now, just to put it into perspective for like anyone that's using this software day to day, as soon as we get a feature request, we can literally build it in a day, depending on the complexity that is, because we have an internal dev team. And so it takes a long time to go from like having an idea in your brain to like having a fully fleshed out tech stack with an internal dev team that can quickly create features for our customers. And we're finally at that point, and it's a big deal because of how much time and money and energy we put into making it happen for investors. Would love to zoom back just a little bit, and because I know a lot of people listening might be using Podio right now, and they might think that it's the bee's knees. And can you explain kind of what the original intention of Podio actually is for, and why it might not be the right tool to scale your business on now?
Yeah, I mean, Podio is a very interesting tool, and we love Podio. I mean, there's a reason why we built our first platform there. And it's a great tool to be able to like have a dream, have an idea, and then just like go and do it, especially if you're geeky enough to get into GlobiFlow. But I mean, there's a few problems with that. And I think the first thing is just like, the first thing is it was originally designed for project management. Like that's its main purpose for being built. It had a huge focus for like marketing agencies, the people that have a bunch of clients doing PPC and stuff, and you want to be able to manage them and their projects all in one, platform, and be able to kind of unlimitedly like grow, and like you just add a field, add a new app, which is true. And it works great for project management, and we still use it for project management. Like the way we manage our customer bases on Podio, because it gives us that flexibility. Oh, we should be paying attention to this area of how they're, doing stuff. And so we can quickly add that. But sales is not one of those areas where lots of things change. Transaction management in real estate, I could definitely argue that that's a place where that could be. But sales, like bringing a lead in, qualifying that lead, and then making offers and getting that under contract, for the most part, like has been the same process for 4 years. Felt longer than that, 5 years that I've been working in building systems for real estate. And there's a reason for that, because it's a very set process. You got to get that contract under, you got to gather information about it. And then after that, there's, the variances of, is it, Section 8, is it, am I going to keep it? Am I going to wholesale it? Am I going to wholetail it? Am I going to flip it? Like, that's where all the different areas come in. But the sales process of bringing in leads, qualifying them, and getting them under contract is the same. And people would have this like shiny object syndrome of like, okay, well, I can perfect this process by like fine tuning this small little piece over here and this little piece over here, and that's going to make me more money, when ultimately it doesn't. What makes you more money is being able to do things efficiently and effectively, to be able to scale fast. So the ability to, okay, I'm going to hire this lead manager. I'm going to up the marketing. They're going to learn to use the system in just a couple of days. They're going to be talking to people. And then, 15, 20, 30 days down the line, now that person's generating more leads, I got to hire acquisitions. Okay, and that person makes more money for me. Now I can spend more money in marketing, and I just need to add lead managers and then acquisitions. And then you just keep the process going until you're making, it's like it's a loop. And you just plug people into a system that can do that for them. So that was the number one problem that we had with Podio, is people would tell us to take 3 months for them to learn the system, because they like had to have this like log, this like knowledge base, process map file, like README instruction manual. That's the term I'm looking for, an instruction manual in their head of how to use the system. And they had to like memorize it. They had to know, okay, I'm at this point in the life cycle. I got to go here and I got to click this button. And then I got to go over here and add some details there. I got to switch to that other app and add some information. And it took so long for people to get onboarded and up to date. And so that's why we set off to do 2.0, and we got great feedback on that. People loved how easy it was to use 2.0, how much they were able to like just hire somebody, put them into our knowledge base, spend a day with them in the system, and they're ready to go. And they can do what they're actually hired to do, which is talk to people, not learn out how to use a complicated CRM.
Yeah. Not have to learn how to go into the back end of Globiflow and edit an automation and like keep an eye out in case something breaks, which happens all the time with Podio. And the problem also is, Podio we don't own Podio, right? It's just something that you could kind of mess with. It's a tool that's owned by a giant publicly traded company, and they literally haven't updated the code base of Podio in a big way, like noticeable to you since we started using it 4 years ago. It's exactly the same. Zero innovation, zero improvement, zero listening to real estate investors. They don't really care about real estate investors because it's a project management tool really for marketing companies. It was the original purpose of Podio. And partly because of our innovation and other consultants coming in, like we kind of proliferated it to be like the go-to tool for real estate investing. But now it's 2020 and it's time to catch everybody up to the real technology and the fact that you can actually use a tool that's built for real estate investing without all of the extra stuff and complex, just 80-20. Like, what is the 20% that's going to give you the 80% of the results? And we basically, our whole goal with all of our standalone software is just to systemize your sales, just to be able to plug in and just follow the steps, enter this information. And I don't know if anyone's seen that GIF of that engine that we created, where a house drops in to the top of the funnel. It gets captured, it gets tracked, it gets qualified, and then it moves over to the follow-up wheel, and the wheel keeps turning, and it churns out text messages, emails, voicemails, actions, follows up with it, and then it eventually moves down the conveyor belt to closed, and then money comes out the other side. And it's like your ability to create that engine has really eluded people because they've had to use like 10 different tools. They've had to hire people. Everybody has to get trained. All the data is in different places. No one has like dashboards to see like what's working and what's not. And we decided, let's fix that. Sales is the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Stop using your lead gen tool to manage your sales process and focus on sales in a dedicated platform. And that's our vision with IF3 and why we doubled down and literally rebuilt the whole product. Yeah.
I had a good conversation yesterday that kind of encapsulates the explanation John gave, which was a great one. I was talking to an investor that was having pain points around managing an acquisitions guy on his team. He goes out and sees properties, but he's not following up on offers that he's made. There was a filter or a view in Podio, those fonts on the left-hand side that you can customize. And this owner just loves customizing and making different fields and stuff like that. So I was kind of like reverse engineering his pain point. And I was like, why does this guy have 30 leads that he hasn't followed up on these offers? Like, does he know, where does he go in the system to know what he does on a day-to-day basis? And he goes, he doesn't really. I kind of just tell him, look at this view. I tell him, tell me when he's going to an appointment, talk to the VA. And I go, this is arguably your biggest money-making opportunity, following up on leads that you've presented offers to. And your sales guy has no idea. He knows to do it intuitively, but he doesn't have a place just to log into the software and actually go in and follow up on those offers where he would make more money, the company would make more money, everyone would be happier. And we were just talking about that. And in IF3, it's like I was showing him IF3 yesterday, and he would literally just have 31 actions probably spread out in the course of a few weeks of just following up with those leads. And it was like a big light bulb moment for this investor in Texas I was talking to yesterday. And that's kind of the comparison and contrast I see with IF3, that we love the feedback that we're getting from our members versus Podio. On days that I have my glasses on, I look like I'm a tech guy probably, but I'm the farthest person on the InvestorFuse team from being a tech guy. So I really resonate with the majority of our members who are more so just salespeople and marketing people that just want something simple and easy to use. Our Podio version is an amazing tool, but no lie, guys, I learned some new little nuance or little tweak in the system being in the product for 2 years. Every day I would learn something like new in there. So you can really go down these rabbit holes of wanting to tweak something that makes sense in your head. That's going to be a lot more challenging to get your team to buy into, especially if you have turnover, at a typical rate of hiring new staff, every so often. So that's one big epiphany and light bulb that we're seeing with people that are using IF3. There's just the simplicity of managing your leads in there and your sales process.
It's like remodeling a house. It's like you don't want to get an old crappy house and have to spend all this time fixing and fine tuning it and to get it to be a beautiful house, and then or flipping a house and then make the money off of it. Like, you don't want to spend 6 months fine tuning your process to get the money in your business that you need. Like, buy a new house, or get the metaphor. Get something new that's built for the purpose, that's already redone, that's already reimagined, that's already built specifically for the process that you're doing, and then use it to make money.
Dude, that's a great metaphor. One of my buddies was showing me his new house the other day, and he was walking me through all of the projects that he's been doing. Literally like doing all the new floorboards, and he has to redo the bathroom, and like he's learning carpentry and he's watching YouTube videos all day, and he doesn't have any time to like spend with his family, because when he gets home from work, he's a full-time chef. He has to go in and like start the next project because the house is kind of like in shambles right now. And the whole time I was just like, God, I just do not relate to this desire at all. Like, I know sweat equity is a thing, but man, just bite the bullet and buy something new. Like, my time is way more valuable than the stress that it takes to like have to rebuild something and put in sweat equity. So that's a great analogy. Just for people that are newer to the InvestorFuse conversation, Carlos, can you kind of describe how InvestorFuse falls into the like scope of the grand scheme of things? Because people are kind of confused about like the difference between lead gen and lead conversion, for instance.
Yeah, I like things simple, so I'll do my best in explaining in a simple way. If you're looking at your real estate operation as a whole, we kind of see three different areas. The first one is more so lead generation and marketing. How are you having conversations with sellers that'll potentially sell their house to you? A lot goes into that, but I'll come back to that. The second part is really your lead management and sales process. How are you actually going to capture leads from your marketing and work them up until you get the contract closed, kind of everything A through Z there. The third is really just your exit strategy of choice. So most people listening to this and a lot of our members are wholesaling, where you're essentially assigning a contract out, but some other exit strategies John mentioned, if you're holding onto the property as a rental, a long-term investment, lease option, whatever you choose to do. So InvestorFuse is essentially able to connect with any type of way that you're doing lead generation or marketing. So if you have a Carrot website, for example, if you're doing text messaging or cold calling, which has been really, really popular the last 2 years, if you're doing free lead generation, if you're just scraping Facebook leads or getting referrals and you want to manually add those in, pretty much InvestorFuse connects with all your marketing to be the catch-all and your seller lead hub for your business, where you can capture those leads and then distribute them to the lead manager or acquisition manager you want responsible for working those. And it's pretty cool because you can do it custom and unique for each lead gen tool or marketing campaign that you have going on. So for example of that, if this was a business right here, an acquisition slice of a business, and everything that came in from your Carrot website, we wanted Dan to call them immediately. We could route the Carrot leads to Dan. If we were sending out direct mail and we got a lot of direct mail calls, we could round robin those to John and myself so that me and John could split phone calls that came in from our direct mail if you're getting a list of driving for dollars, for example. So to quickly recap, we're pretty much the seller lead hub, and we connect with your marketing and lead generation tools.
Yeah, so it captures your qualified leads after you've generated them in your Mojo dialer, in your deal machine, in your call tools, and your call rail. And we integrate with all these tools that help you get in touch with the seller initially, and then we guide you through a process to get the thing under contract and actually fulfill the service that's on all your marketing, which is, get a quick cash offer and fast, whatever. And so think of it that way. It's like it helps you deliver on the promise that you're putting out there to so many people at scale. And it gives your team a structure to do it and do it profitably and stay focused and not do all the mundane stuff that typically brings down most investors because they try to do everything themselves, right? I want to back this up with some stats from our friend Christina Kraus. So Christina runs a company called Virtual Lead Managers, and she also runs a company called Postal Impact, which is a marketing hub. And they did a study over all of their clients inside of their lead conversion systems, or inside of their software, whatever they're using. And she basically, across hundreds of thousands of data points, found these crazy stats about follow-up. She said that of the companies that had a follow-up system, I'm trying to find it here. Where is she? I memorized it. Of the companies that had any type of system to follow up with leads, 74% of their deals came 30 or more days after the first touch. So literally like 75% of the money that they made came 30 or more days after the first touch because they had this follow-up system in place. On the other side of the coin, she had clients that did not have a follow-up system in place. 8%, only 8% of their deals came from follow-up 30 or more days after the first touch. That means that just by having a process in place, a lead conversion process like we're talking about, you can like 9x the money that you make. It's just, you can't argue with the stats here. Like, people focus so much on generating leads and getting finding motivated sellers. But why do you think the investors that are crushing it right now are doing the same marketing as everybody else, but they're able to do more deals? Is it because they're better at negotiating? Maybe. Because they're better at analyzing property? Maybe. The biggest reason though is that 95% of your deals are coming from follow-up. They're not going to come from that first phone call. And literally your chances of closing a deal increase by 21 times just by getting in touch with someone within 5 minutes of them reaching out to you. If you don't have a system for that and you're just willy-nilly doing stuff all day, you're never going to be able to compete with these people that do. And then there's the other stat, which is you have like a 10x more likely chance of closing a deal if you attempt to contact someone more than 7 times. So minimum 7 times you have to try to follow up with someone before you give up. And again, the people that have systems for this are always going to beat out the people that are just using brute force and trying to remember to call people. So we really just want to put the message out there that like follow-up is key. He who has the better follow-up system is always going to beat out the person that does not. And the problem with follow-up is it takes consistency. It takes a lot of minutia. It takes a lot of repetitive tasks. That's what we have completely been able to wipe off the face of the planet with IF3 because it just makes it dummy proof. So with that, I'd like to take it back to John. And John, why don't you tell us just a little bit more about IF3? How is it different than Podio? How is it different than 2.0? What did we learn in 2.0 that, might have missed the mark in 2.0, and how did we fix that in IF3?
That was like 6 questions, so we'll start at the top.
just talk about how IF3 is awesome.
So let's start with it compared to Podio. And so I was talking earlier about how we couldn't control how Podio looks for the most part. And like, that's a huge point, right? And something that we've really taken to heart from what we learned inside of 2.0 as well, is that when you open up what we call an opportunity, which an opportunity is just somebody has a property, a motivated seller for the property equals an opportunity. When you open that up, the most important information that you need to see is right in front of you. So if it's in a certain part of the process, so if it's an appointment, if there's an open offer, if there's an open contract, there's a banner like right at the top that tells you the important details about that. Like, hey, there's an expected profit of 30 grand and the close date is expected to be on the 25th of October. Right when you open the opportunity, you can't like escape it. It's just there. And you don't have to like scroll and try and find the status field somewhere to figure out, what you're doing with that deal. And then we also have something called, your favorite fields or important opportunity information. So it's 4 fields of all the information that you gather that you see right at the top, and you get to pick them. So you're, again, like, let's say it's ARV, let's say it's asking price, whatever it is that's most important for you when you're looking at your opportunities for whatever kind of exit strategy you have or type of lead gen that you're doing, that shows right up at the top. And then it also gives you data points, just like when was it created? How many touches have you done, right? So touches, it means I sent them a text, an email, I completed an action, or, our automated sequence sent them a text or an email or voicemail. Those will calculate. And so you're just like able to gather the most important information that you need to quickly make a decision and then move on to your next opportunity. So that's the first part, right? Is that we can control how things look. So we make it simple and easy for you to do what you need to do, which is talk to sellers and move on to the next opportunity. But at the same time too, like, we own all the data, right? So all the data is in our database. And so we can start to really do some fun stuff with that. And that's what we're kind of starting to bridge into now that we've gotten most of the foundational elements of, being able to follow up with leads. Now it's like, okay, what do we do with that data? And so the touches point I was talking about, like that's a new thing that came out less than 3 weeks ago. And so we're starting to look at the data that we have, like how many touches does it take you to get to a contract? What is your average time to a qualified lead? What is your average time to a contract? Bringing those data points together and putting them in a way that you can make decisions from them. All of those important KPIs that, I've done it. I've helped, people build custom dashboards all the time. And like, we spend agony hours going over like, okay, what do we want to track? Okay, then how do we gather that information from Podio? Heck, I'm just going to have them there for you inside of IF3. They're just going to be there staring you in the face. And I'll probably send you text messages and I'll tell you, hey, you've got 6 overdue actions. How about like employees? Like your acquisitions managers have 10 overdue actions. That's where we're going very quickly because we have all the foundational stuff. And now it's just like, okay, we got the data, we got the data points. Let's make it meaningful for the person that is using the system to make money. And then 2.0 compared to IF3, and then I have to jump because I have a developer meeting and you guys keep chatting. But 2.0 to IF3, we learned a lot there. 2.0 came out and we were so excited about the process of, and by the process, I mean our action decision tree. So all of our actions, like call a new lead, go on an appointment, make an offer, follow up an offer, are all different. So imagine them being tasked, but they're tasks that tell you exactly what to do. So call new lead, you call the lead. Did you get them on the phone? Yes or no? You got them on the phone? Yes. Fill out the fields. Got them on the phone? No. It automatically goes to call attempt number 2. So we do that for the whole process, the core process of sales inside of real estate investing. And so we were so excited about that with 2.0, and people did like it. People enjoyed the simplicity of it, enjoyed how it kept their employees on track, but it was a little too stringent. So we've made things more flexible now. And we're going to continue to make them more flexible. So we still have our core action decision trees and that whole flow of new lead to, well, not a lot of people are doing appointments right now, for virtual appointments, making an offer, following up on an offer, and then getting it under contract. It's still the same. And so the action flow works for that. And that's what powers the KPIs. Another key point, like you don't have to rely on your staff to go click the right box at the right time for a KPI to, add on to onto the dashboard. It just automatically tracks based upon what they do in their actions. But we've added tasks on top of that. So you can have unlimited amount of tasks for an opportunity at any point in time in the entire process. So, you're going on an appointment. Okay, somebody needs to go and prepare a packet for me. So you create a task for somebody to create a PDF packet that you're going to print out. Somebody needs to go pull comps for me. You create another task for somebody to go pull comps for you. And so you're really given that flexibility inside the system. And then our forms too, just, I'm not going to get very complicated there, but you can create multiple forms for different types of situations. So if you have different exit strategies and you start to say, okay, I'm going to flip this one, or I'm going to wholesale this one, or I'm going to wholesale this one, and the information that you might want to grab or show is different for those types of exit strategies, there's different forms in the system for that. So we're really trying to give you like what you need at the right point in time, but still giving you those areas where it's flexible enough that you can adjust the process along the way. And we're going to continue to do that as time goes on.
Yeah. And then there's cool little things that just save you, like it's in real estate, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts with all the little tiny micro things you need to do, jumping around from platform to platform or screen to screen. So we're always trying to bypass some of these moves, and the quick touch, the quick add feature is really, really cool. Can you describe that?
Oh, yeah. So when you're completing an action, which is the core part of the system, so let's just say I have a follow-up on seller action. So I'm following up with this seller. I can leave instructions for myself so I know what I need to do when I follow up. So the previous one, let's say it was call new lead. I completed that, left some instructions that said, talk to the seller. They're going to talk it over with their wife. So I could leave that in the instructions. So I open up my new action and follow up with seller, and it immediately gives me insight of what I'm supposed to be doing. Because you guys talk to people all day long. Nobody expects you to remember everything. You complete the whole action and you're getting ready to set the next one, which let's just say in this case, it's make an offer. You can leave instructions for what kind of offer you're going to make, but you can also do these quick actions. And there's 4 different types. You can send a text, send an email, update the notes, or add a comment. You can do 2, you can do 4, you can do 1, you can do 3. Any combination of those 4 things you can do as you're completing an action. Because we were finding people would complete an action and they go back to the main screen of the opportunity, they'd update the notes, they'd add a comment, send a text. So now you do it all in the flow of completing an action. So you could send a text to the seller and say, hey, great chatting with you today. I'm putting all the details together with my team, and we'll get an offer to you shortly. You can send that text to them. You could then update the notes and say this: the seller told us that there is water damage from a leak on the second story above the bathroom. So you could leave those notes, and then you can add a comment and say, had a discussion with the seller. They're interested in receiving an offer for us. Difference between notes and comments. Notes are stuck pieces of information in time. They will never change. A comment is time-based. So I did this at this point in time. The seller said this. So you can do all of that. And then you just complete the action, and then somebody else in your team is going to send that offer or whatever it is that you need to do in your process. So it really just saves a ton of time being able to do that all at once, all in one go. And now I have to go. So
and that's it. John, thank you so much for being here. Go and keep making this product amazing.
I will.
Dev call.
I will indeed do that. Thanks, guys.
Love it. Thanks, John.
Yes, and I can attest to just how wizardry John is. He has the most detailed product management workflow on the back end of how he manages all the devs and how he manages all the features and all the requests coming in. There's literally thousands of individual line item things that need to change inside the software. And John is on top of it every single day. He's also basically creating animations and mock-ups for different screens that we're building. We're working on a cool thing now. He showed me the other day, task templates. So when you're completing a task, you can add it as a template. So if it's something you frequently do, like bandit signs or putting a lockbox on, you can just quickly select that and everything gets filled out and it gets assigned to the right person. And just the little things that save so much time. And he's a freaking baller, and we're really blessed to have him on our team and serving the real estate community. So check out the software if you haven't yet. Carlos and I will stay on and just jam a little bit longer, but you can go to InvestorFuse.com and either look at some of the videos or request access to the software and talk to Carlos Zamora himself. He'll do a demo to see if it's a fit for you. Carlos, do you want to kind of talk about who it's best for right now?
Yeah, for sure. And earlier, for you guys that are watching on the live stream, I actually sent the roadmap in there, investorfuse.com/roadmap. I'm excited for that because it's the most up-to-date that we've been as far as what we're working on the product, what's coming in the future, and it also has a submit idea button in there that's talking about John's kind of architect, that's the character he is. He actually sees every single feature request that comes in from you guys. So you guys can check that out whether you're an existing member or not. And as far as who InvestorFuse is best fit for, it's going to be best fit for investors doing direct-to-seller marketing. So if you're in this Facebook group or listening to this live, that's most likely you. But there's a price tag to it. So it's a subscription software that we're in. So it's $250 per month or $2,500 annually for the year, around $208 a month billed annually. If you do with the annual plan, save yourself a little bit of money. So you should be an established investor that's using this. Ideally, you have at least closed a couple real estate deals, and then you can invest some of that into your lead conversion system, which I kind of see as like marketing insurance, to make sure all the money and effort that you're putting into marketing, you're going to have an insurance policy out for it to make sure that you're putting your team in a system that's going to be able to follow up with all those leads. Because on average, most times it's going to take over 3 months and 7 touches, as we've talked about, to actually monetize those leads that are coming in. So I see it as kind of like a marketing insurance policy, somewhat, guys, how I explained it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much what I look for. Make sure that you actually have closed real estate. Sometimes there are more so beginners that sign up if they're working with a coach or a mentor hand in hand. Like that actually happens relatively frequently. Someone that's a newer investor will have a mentor or a coach that's using InvestorFuse, and then we'll get them signed up because they'll be kind of having more white glove hand in hand service with them, getting them set up in InvestorFuse and things like that.
Love that. Yep. And if someone is trying to sign up and they're currently on another software, can you kind of describe what the process is for like switching and getting onboarded?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're a former member, actually, this would be awesome to hear from you. Shoot us an email, answers@investorfuse.com. We can actually hook you up if you're a former member at any point of InvestorFuse. But really what we do is if it's someone that's migrating from another platform, a new member, we actually have a really cool onboarding experience the last few months here, which has been awesome both for the end user and us internally as a company getting to know you guys a little bit better. But pretty much what we try to get an understanding of when a company signs up are what you're doing for marketing, what are the tools you're using to accomplish those marketing aspirations, and then what do your active leads look like to import into the system. So pretty much we'll get the login information for your tools you're using for marketing and lead generation, get your leads formatted if you choose to import those. Oftentimes we'll have you start fresh in the system just to put your salespeople and you in a good successful position to actually work with leads on a daily basis. And then in 1 to 3 business days, oftentimes less than that, we'll have all your tools connected where you're running leads into the system from your websites, texting tools, CallRail, cold calling tool, multi-line dialers, everything like that. And you're going to be rocking and rolling with both a kickoff call, kind of a 2-part intro call as well, where the kickoff call is kind of a face-to-face meeting to get an understanding, like a qualitative understanding of what you're looking to do marketing wise. We'll explain how each of your tools integrates into the system. And then the second call is an overview in your own market space. We'll show you what leads look like when they come into the system, best practices, getting your notifications set up. So if you want to get a text message to your iPhone directly from the system anytime you get assigned a lead, anything like that, we can show you how to set that up live on right on a live call, which is pretty cool.
Yep, that's a great kind of summation of everything. And I just want to reiterate that we integrate with basically everything. Mm-hmm. There isn't anything that we can't integrate with. So however you're generating leads or getting your data, we can get those into InvestorFuse as soon as it turns into a lead. A couple of integrations that work really well is the Sherpa integration. If you're doing a bunch of texting and you have someone that is interested in selling their house, at that point, you should get them off of Sherpa because you can't use Sherpa to manage the sales process effectively and consistently. You hit a button in Sherpa and it sends all that information over into IF3 InvestorFuse. The person on your team that's assigned to that campaign is going to get an action to call the lead and collect more information or make the offer or whatever the action is. And you just kind of guide it through all the way. And you can track that it came from Sherpa. You can track all of your marketing so you can see actually like what is working the best. We call it marketing insurance because if you're spending a bunch of money on marketing and it's kind of crazy how many people leave it up to chance as far as like actually monetizing these leads and trying to only do the low hanging fruit and forgetting the fact that the majority of your wealth is going to come from follow-up straight up. And so all of a sudden $250 a month doesn't seem that expensive considering how much time it'll save you and how much, if it just helped you do one extra deal and follow up, you're going to pay for the system for multiple years. Yep. So it's really a no-brainer system for people that are serious about this investment, about this business and actually having a competitive advantage to anyone else in your market that's just sort of brute forcing it and doesn't really have a system like this. So I think that is a great kind of summation. Keep an eye out, 80/20 investing group. We have a challenge coming up. We have a new challenge, another Fire Yourself challenge. We've done 3 Fire Yourself challenges and we will have the announcement for the next one coming up shortly. It's going to be completely new training, completely new tools and systems that we're going to show you how to run your business so that you don't actually have to do a lot of the work day to day. We're going to show you how to set up a self-sustaining operation that does not rely on you. And even if you're brand new, no matter what exit strategy you're doing, like we're going to give you the tools you need to set up what we call an 80/20 business. And so I'm really excited about that. So keep an eye out for that. We'll probably do a podcast episode on that as well. And yeah, a lot of awesome, fun new features coming up with IF3. We have, you check out the roadmap at investorfuse.com/roadmap. We have an inbox that we're building. We have more advanced buyers, so you can communicate and like manage showings and buyer information in the system. We've got a lot of cool like workflow systems that we're doing, property data integration that's coming on live, and everything is around just being a better closer and like not having to worry about all the day-to-day minutia and figuring out how to use your technology. You just follow the process. We wanted to build like a digital sales assistant. That's what it is. It just shows you what to do, shows you how to do your deals and turn those leads into cash or properties if you are holding on to them. So thank you guys for tuning in live. This has been fun. Keep an eye out on some feature videos that we're going to be releasing over the next few weeks that Carlos and I are working on. You can check out how the system looks right now. If you go to InvestorFuse.com, you can request access to a demo, and you can even sign up right now if you're ready to roll by going to InvestorFuse.com and then clicking on the pricing button, and you'll see the button that says get started now if you want to just get going right away. And yeah, just a lot of amazing opportunities overall. Most of our members that are actively doing deals are actually more successful now than they were pre-COVID. There's so much opportunity. There's so much deal flow to be had right now. And I want you guys just remember that's distress is a good thing for real estate investors. And I don't want you guys to be giving in to the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that you might be encountering on your news feeds and on the news. There's so much opportunity right now. Most of the business owners that we work with and the best investors we know are all doing way better now than they were before. So this isn't the time to stop. This is the time to double down, to get serious about systems and processes, to get serious about your marketing and your lead conversion, about hiring and firing yourself out so you can do more deals in less time. That is what it takes to be a successful investor. And that is what our mission is for all small business entrepreneurs. So with that, Carlos, do you have any final words before we sign off?
Indeed it is. That was a heck of a send-off. So I will just say, have fun in your day-to-day. Never forget that. One of the most important things. Stay focused, and hope to chat with you soon.
Amazing. Thanks, Los.
Cool.
See you guys.
See you guys.